Hey everybody, welcome to Product Popcorn. I'm Kimberly and I'm a product manager.
Hi, I'm Adam and I carve small wooden horses for a living.
Adam is a front-end developer. Today on the podcast we have Jeseka with us.
Hello.
And Jeseka is a product designer. So we're going to talk about how product managers can successfully work with product designers. And we're also going to talk about managing people because Jeseka manages a team at Shutterstock. So it's going to be super cool. Lots of good information. Actually relevant to product management this week. Definitely a bonus for a product management podcast.
What?
All right. So just a couple of items before we get started. I am looking for disaster stories. We're going to have a Halloween episode. So if you're a product manager or if you just work in software in general and you have a great disaster stories, I'm going to keep it totally anonymous. You can email me at kimberly@productpopcorn.com or you can tweet at me at productpopcorn. You can DM me too. I'll check. Would love to have your disaster stories for the Halloween episode.
People should stop sending us stories of the Titanic because we get it. It's sunk. Everyone knows that story.
Yeah, we already know that one. So only news stories only. All right. And before we get into Jeseka's intro, we have Acronomicon.
What?
It's design related today, Acronomicon, because we have a designer with us. So, actually, Jeseka, it's CX. I guess, Adam, do you want to guess what we're talking about first?
I'm usually pretty accurate, so it's a good thing that I'm guessing. And my theory relating to our discussion on Apple's iPhone X.
Oh my God, do not call it that.
I think it's cars. Like,
yes.
You know, like the latest release of cars, we're up to like number 10
It's
now
like Tesla
sequels,
X.
Right? Yeah, well, I was thinking it's like the Disney Cars animated movies. They've made so many that I think we're up to X now. Or maybe they've skipped 9 entirely like Apple did.
That's wrong. It's customer experience. Jeseka, quick question. How is CX different from UX? Or is it really the same thing and somebody thought they were super clever by coming up with a new acronym?
So I think probably the biggest confusion that comes into it is UX really is a part of CX.
Ah.
Right? You have to kind of think of it as a yolk. UX is the yolk, CX is the egg.
I like that.
You know?
I like the egg analogy. We like food. Anyway, all right, moving on. We're going to intro Jeseka. So, Jeseka, I'm going to ask you some personal questions.
Sure.
Not super personal.
Deeply personal.
Oh my God.
Well, before we actually go into the real questions I want to ask you, I just have to ask you a couple questions I asked Jamie Love last week. Pandas or red pandas?
Oh, I have a soft spot for pandas, but I think red pandas are pretty darn
Thank God.
cute.
I would have to kick you out of here if you said pandas.
Did I make the joke about how much better they taste last time?
Yes, you did. We don't eat either of those animals.
I was just curious.
I'm gonna have PETA after me if you keep making these eating panda jokes.
Ooh, delicious. We're still talking about food, guys.
Yeah, okay. Sorry. All right. Jeseka, you've got an art degree.
Yes.
Also, I was kind of scoping you out on LinkedIn.
That's not a question.
Sorry, I know I'm making statements.
Oh.
They're kind of like question statements.
Yeah,
Online
sprinkle
stalking.
in.
Okay, I have to know. So you worked at 17 magazine.
I did.
Every girl's dream.
Oh my God. And every grandmother's, it's been around forever.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
How long has it been around?
I would probably say easily, I think recently 70 years.
Oh my God, 70 years.
Spooky.
What was were you doing just print design there or?
So yeah, I was the promotional print designer, design director. And I was there for a few years, 5 years. I left when eventually the promotional design department merged with Cosmopolitan's promotional design department.
Oh, so cool.
Yeah.
So you went from there, you went to Audible though. Is that where you kind of did more, I guess, interactive, UX stuff?
So there was kind of a funny story with that one, which I'll share with you now.
Yay!
We love funny stuff.
So at 17 Magazine, I like to think that we were just the most advanced magazine. Our girls were very tech savvy. We were doing all these custom apps for them and microsites, and prom was a big deal. So I was doing a lot of work anyway, and just making mobile apps, and I was like, what is this this thing that I'm doing, right? You know, because I was traditionally known as a graphic designer, like a print designer.
Yeah.
And I had a friend who at the time worked at Audible, and it was in New Jersey, and I lived in Queens. And for anybody from New York, that's like
horrifying.
That's 2 rivers.
You're going to Jersey,
that's
though.
That's not a joke. Yeah. Well, that's true. There's like this New York, New Jersey thing also happening. So I had gone for lunch to meet a friend of mine, and I was like, dude, it's New Jersey. And he's like, come on, it's just lunch. And I was like, fine. So I went there for lunch, and I was really kind of blown away because like everyone is like happy. You know, it's like one of those places. You know, it's like you're like, what is everyone drinking here? Do you know what I mean? Like Karma Smile and
the
like
Kool-Aid.
Yeah, and like everyone I'm talking to, everyone's like, this place is awesome. You know, it was a complete like it was almost like he staged the whole afternoon. Like everyone he had me meet was like, this place is wonderful.
It was like a North Korea type of
I don't know.
I was going to say Truman Show, but you went straight to North Korea. That's fine.
So, of course, like at the end of it, I was like, I want to work for Audible, right? What do I need to do to get here? And so I started talking with like his manager and like a few other people. And then there was head of like UX there that used to be also in advertising. So he was an advertising creative director. He's like, I could do it. You could do it. He's like, you're practically doing it anyway. You just don't realize it.
Yeah.
He's like, why don't you just go and start taking some classes and like just look at your work and you'll realize that you've already been like looking at personas and solving customer problems and like doing a lot of these things that you just don't realize you're doing.
Yeah.
So I went to General Assembly. Like I took a 3-month course.
Oh, you did?
I did.
How long ago was this? I'm just curious.
This was maybe like almost 3 years now.
Oh, that was recent.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So at the end of the class, I was like, I called up my friend and I said, did I just waste all this money? Could you just look at my homework for me and just like the final project?
Yeah.
I was like, could you just tell me like, am I like getting this or am I not getting this? Like just for some type of validation.
Yeah.
So he had shared the assignment with his boss and then he's like, I hope you don't mind. I shared it with my boss. He wants to meet you as soon as possible. I was like, what?
You shared your homework with the boss?
So it was like one of those like crazy things. I was like, is this real? Like, what, are you serious? Like, and of course, like, I'm like, yeah, I want to meet him. So I ended up going out to Jersey again, 2 rivers again.
Jeez. I'm surprised you're still alive.
No, I had to get shots. No. So, you know, I was just in a really fortunate situation. They had, like, he was starting to work for this kind of, I want to say, like an incubator team where they were coming up with like some new ideas for Audible. And they had a very like secret kind of group that they were starting, and they had a product person who transitioned from physical products to digital products.
Interesting. Okay.
And you know, she was also relatively new, so they thought both of us, because we were very curious, very eager, kind of new, but still understanding the field, would really mesh together.
And bring some like outside insight.
Exactly.
Wow, that's a weird statement. Outside
insight. I'm surprised that you were able to pronounce it properly.
Yeah.
Good work.
Have another drink.
Foray.
Foray. Yes, we like to say foray here. We don't know what it means.
So that's what happened. I got started, and it was the most amazing year. It was like an intensive like internship program. I had like support from everybody.
So how did you move from Audible to Shutterstock?
So after about a year, crossing 2 rivers can be challenging. And like I have 2 kids, and I kind of felt terrible because like I would never have dinner with them. I wouldn't see them until the weekends. And I was like,
and moving to New Jersey is not an option.
No, when you're from New York, it's not always an option. And I was like diehard New Yorker. I was like born and raised. I only lived in the boroughs. So of course I started just like looking at my network, and Shutterstock was a company I was like a client for many, many, many years, and I still kept in touch with people. I was really good friends. When I was at 17, I was a customer. When I was at Condé Nast, like Oprah, Redbook.
Wow.
So when you started working at Shutterstock, how long did you work there until you moved out to Colorado?
So that was relatively quick, and that was really unexpected. So I mean, we have 2 boys, we had 2 boys in a small 2-bedroom apartment. And it's like cruel and unusual punishment. Like to have 2 boys bouncing off the walls.
And you moved here and you're like, we can buy a single family home.
I know. Like my husband is in manufacturing, so in developing physical products.
Oh, okay.
So we were like, where in the country can we go where it has a good tech hub and a product hub? Like where's our manufacturing industry?
That was very fortunate that you were able to transfer your existing job, because I mean there's 18,000 people a month moving here, so it's like
Is it a month?
18?
Oh my god.
18,000 a month is the most recent statistic I've read.
Whoa. And I'm one of them. I'd like to apologize for all the traffic to everyone listening.
It's mainly,
We blame you and you alone.
it's mainly Jessica's fault.
It's all my fault. I apologize in advance.
It's because she still drives like a New Yorker, though.
I do. I'm sorry.
Well, hey, her over the driving like a Texan. No offense, Adam.
And I can totally parallel park.
The people here, when I've literally parallel parked somebody's car for them on the street.
Oh my god.
Because they just can't do it. And I'm like, get out. Like,
Yeah, you're like, I got
give me
this.
your Mercedes. It's fine. You don't know what you're
You just
doing.
drive off.
Yeah.
You deserve this car.
You don't deserve
So you are what your title is director of product design, I think?
principal product designer.
Principal product designer at Shutterstock. So give me the definition, fit for a toddler, of what a product designer is and does.
So I guess the best way I could describe it is we're like the golden unicorns. It's probably like it's a mix of a lot of disciplines, right? So you have to be a strong visual designer.
UI designer.
Yes, UI designer, UX designer, researcher. You know,
Acronomicon on all these acronyms.
yes.
Acronomicon, UI, user interface, UX, user experience. What was the other one?
Researcher.
No.
Researcher. Researcher.
R-E. No, anyway.
Yeah.
So combination of all those disciplines is
And-
product designer.
And probably like the biggest thing is like you're just like one of those people that are like insanely curious and you're like, I'm gonna just try anything once. You know, like they're like the people you go into a restaurant, they're like, I'll try elk. You know, like one time. Do you know what I mean?
Would you say that you have a strong background in like A/B testing as well, like as a product designer, typically?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the one thing is you're just one of those people that are so curious, and also you never think that you are the customer. Like that's the biggest thing. So you always want to revert back to who is your customer, who's the person using the product, and who are all the different types of customers. So whether you design something that you think is right, it really doesn't matter. It's if the customer thinks it's right.
So you do a lot with personas.
Yeah. So it's sort of like personas and contacting and like talking directly to the customer.
So when you're working with, I assume you work with various product owners and product managers at work, like how do you work with them? Because it seems like, I mean, there is some overlap for sure, at least in my experience working with a large design team, and particularly UX, because a lot of times, you know, the product manager or the product owner wants to determine like what the user flow or the user experience. I put together user flows all the time at my job now. So like, can you kind of talk through like how do you work with a PM or a PO?
I mean, I think everyone has a different style of working, so you just have to figure out like what works, right? And like you said before, there's a lot of things that overlap with the PM role and the UX role. And I kind of feel like a great team, they kind of divide and conquer, right?
Yeah.
It's sort of like, you want to do a flow? Great. I'll do a flow. You do a flow. You want to do some research. You want to take some notes during the session right now. You know, it's sort of like, that's really the best way to do it because there is a lot of overlap in the two roles.
Sure.
Right?
Like you don't actually write user stories, do you? Or do you?
We do.
You do.
Yeah.
Okay.
And, you know, that's another thing is like, we also have design sprints, right?
Yeah.
And I know typically product owners will write like the Jira tickets and stuff like that. But, you know, you could essentially have your designer write the Jira tickets, or you could sit side by side with your designer and be like, let's make sure we have all the ACs correct. You know, what else do we need to do? You know, is the user story correct?
Yeah.
Or what is the problem that we're trying to solve? Make sure that's clear.
Often a very common misconception is that in agile development, the product manager, the product owner is not the only person who should be writing user stories. Anybody can write a user story. The product owner prioritizes them.
Ooh.
Fun fact.
Yeah.
Pro tip.
Fun fact. So your story might be indefinitely in the backlog, but anybody can write one.
And the same goes for like anybody can have like the right solution. You know, we have design sprints. Sometimes, you know, Google recently like launched, or, you know, there's the book about the sprint book. And anyone can come up with the best idea. Anyone can sketch out the best idea.
It's true.
You know?
Tell me what you did today.
Today.
Or like you can pick Monday. I don't care, but
well, Monday,
I just want to know like what's your typical day look like? Like you get into work, what do you do? Like
so for me, so the team that I manage, we have 3 experiences that we manage. So I'll try to come in, I'll try to check in with everyone. Typically we're on Slack. Most of my team is in New York. So with the principal product designer role, it's like you're supposed to design, manage, also look at some of the other experiences, help the other designers. So as of now, we have 4 people on our team. There's a new person that joined in, just checking in with them. There's 2 other designers that I mentor, that are my direct reports. So really, most of my day is involved with checking in with everyone, making sure everything's okay, taking a look at the roadmap, maybe taking a look at some Jira tickets, putting down some ACs.
ACs, Acronomicon.
Acceptance criteria.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's great. So you do manage, how many direct reports do you have?
So on the books, I have 2 direct reports, but I manage 3 experiences that have 4 designers. So if you think about it, I almost am looking at 6 people.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. Do you like managing, like when was the last time you actually opened up Illustrator or whatever you use, like
Sketch?
Today.
Sketch. And oh really?
Right before I got here. Yeah.
So you do actually still do UI design, or?
I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Going back to working with PMs, can you tell me some things that product managers, past and present, you've worked with have done that have really been awesome, and maybe some other things that are not so awesome?
I think it's great when the product manager sits with their designer and SDM, like on either side, like hand in hand. Do you know what I mean? It's sort of like you're a left hand, right hand person.
Yep.
And when they work as a team, or when any new initiative comes into play, like they are not the one presenting the design ideas. They go in with the designer side by side and are leading the charge. Like, we are doing this as a team. There's something that creates like a strong sense of loyalty when you say you are my partner in this, as opposed to I'm telling you what to do. So I
like that. That's good advice. Do you ever have PMs give you design feedback, or maybe even not like the product manager level, but perhaps a little bit farther up the chain?
Yeah. The hardest thing for people to do is like, how do you communicate with a designer? And that's been like my biggest like point of mercy. Like whenever I got advice from somebody, they're like, can you make the logo bigger? For me, and I think maybe this is what got me started into UX, is be like, what is the problem we're trying to solve? Do you know what I mean?
That's a good point.
And it's like, I don't get angry with them because, they just don't know necessarily how to talk to designers. They're not designers, but they want to.
The logo doesn't need to be bigger, but it's either they're missing it, like there's a deeper problem there that you have to kind of uncover.
And it's really just asking the right questions. And I feel like everyone just naturally, whatever it is that you do for a profession, your natural inclination is to give a suggestion, because you're like, something doesn't feel right to me and I need to solve it, right?
Yeah.
Instead of saying, this doesn't feel right, what do you think we should do? Because that also takes some time, and especially in New York City in general, things are so fast-paced. There's no time to sit and have a conversation about like why you don't like something. It's sort of like, I don't like this, it needs to be fixed right away, I have 5 minutes. The one thing I want to see is a bigger, logo, or I want to change the color, or a bigger button, things like that.
That has to be hard to work through as a designer, though, because you need to get to that root problem, but it seems like you just have very little time to get it.
So you're saying then to voice that you see a problem, but not necessarily have to provide your specific solution, but to make sure that you're open to solutions.
Yeah, and I think that's really the best thing, is to always start with what's the problem. Because designers always start with what is the real problem anyway. And when you suggest a solution, you might be blocking some other like solution that might be better, right?
Yeah.
Or it's kind of like leading the witness in a way.
Yeah,
right?
you're
the same thing. And even with user testing, like you never want to say to somebody like, oh, can you press that button? Or how about looking over to this side of the page? It's
right.
Like, because then
what's over here?
Because then you really have to like have them discover it. And the same thing goes with the designer, is that they have a very different level of thinking that they're like trying to solve a solution. And if you give a problem, then they may end up going with that solution. A good designer will give you your solution and the right solution. Right. Sometimes it's the same, sometimes it's not.
But do you find that some product people still pick the wrong solution, even with, and what I've seen PMs do a lot too is like ignore data, like ignore user data. Don't do this, product managers.
It's bad.
Bad. Like, I don't care what solution you like better or in your mind you think is better. Data does not lie. So if you have two solutions and one is clearly performing better, go with the one that's performing better.
And also, there could be other things that are into play, right?
Yeah.
Like, maybe they are looking at the history of everything that has happened. Maybe they're saying, I did this and it didn't work. But maybe it didn't work back then. Maybe things are different now, right?
Yeah, it
maybe,
moves so fast.
Maybe there's fear. Maybe there's fear in their decision making,
Yeah.
going, this is just too much of a crazy idea, and we just can't go there right now because, promotions are coming, or, the company is, really reevaluating everything that's going on. Like, there could be many things into play. So the key with that is, no matter what, just be vocal with your designer. Like, you could say, I need a solution, but I'm going to need 3 stages. I'm going to need, what can I release right now? Very small, simple impact. And then what can we work toward later? Do you know, like, what is it that we're really trying to do?
Yeah. There's definitely, you're right. It's not as simple as, we A/B tested and B performed better. There are a ton of factors that product people are looking at, marketing, other business decisions, other features that may be integrated. So many factors, but in general, in my career, one thing that I have seen is like just a bad habit of senior management as well as product people is, trying to give design is just such a low-hanging fruit. Engineers do not get this type of feedback because nobody understands what they do. Whereas like, I couldn't comment on your code,
I can't comment on my code. I black out and then it's there.
But, the one thing about design is when you look at it, something feels wrong. But when it's
true.
Right, it doesn't feel like anything. You know what I mean? It's sort of like seamless.
So this is probably the wrong word to use, but I feel like design is accessible for almost everyone, right? Like everybody sees it and they understand it. Like you said, it invokes a feeling.
Yeah, they feel it.
Yeah.
And, like internally. Like it's much more than like, it's a very... like I want to say like all encompassing like feeling.
Yeah.
You think about it, you feel about it, you read it. It has like a lot of different elements that goes into it.
Yeah. So I think that would, for me, if I were a product designer, I think that would be the most challenging thing, would just be, so I guess that's the pro tip.
Yeah.
The takeaway is don't lead your witness. Don't solution for your designer.
And, even just as a principal product designer, like, I have to also, like, hold myself back because sometimes I want to provide a solution for one of the experiences with a designer. But really, the best thing for me to do is allow that designer to really solve that problem because they know it so intimately. And they're going to put all this level of effort into, like, research and testing and, like, come up with the right solution. So even designers sometimes tend to give design solutions when really they need to just step back. And it's really all about being, like, a good manager, whether it's product manager, design manager, just like letting the person come up with that solution.
Great lead in. So let's...
Yeah. I was going to say, don't judge the witness. Don't lead the witness, but also don't follow that up by judging the witness if they don't go where you expect.
That's a good point. Yeah. I've been fortunate. I've worked with only like really fantastic designers in the past.
Yeah, I know.
I've only ever worked with you as a developer.
Oh, crap.
I'm sure you're wonderful, though, as a designer as well. So let's talk about managing people. So you have 4 or 6 people? Sorry, I can't remember already.
2 direct reports, but 4 people that I manage their workload.
Oh, perfect. Okay. So how is it different managing a design team as opposed to just being, a member of a design team?
I think the most important thing for me, just in the history, I've seen good managers, I've seen bad managers. The one thing that really helps you to be a better manager is to actually want the people that you manage to become managers too. Like, you have to want the people that you are overseeing to come to your level and beyond, genuinely. And when you make that internal commitment, you kind of go to bat for them. Do you know what I mean? Like, you literally want them to succeed so bad that you're going to do anything and everything it possibly takes, and you have no ego whatsoever. But
some managers, I feel like, at least I've seen, in my career, like, do you think some managers feel that they're in competition with some of their direct reports? And threatened.
Yeah.
Threatened. Like, what causes that, and what can...
I think it's survival, to be honest, right? It's like survival, it's self-confidence. Like, you really have to be comfortable with the fact that, things change. And you're not going to be at a company forever, and that's okay, right? And that no matter what, you will be okay. But if you are willing to dedicate yourself to raise other leaders, then you're eventually going to rise up too, right? It's just one of those things, like, you can't have an ego because people really see right through it. Then they don't trust you. And if they feel like you're not looking out for their best interest, they're not going to give it their all. But if they feel like you're the one that's going to bat for them and you're the one that genuinely wants them to rise up as soon as possible, they're going to give you their all. And
they're going to make you look good.
Yeah, and that's
they
really...
trust you because you're being genuine.
Exactly. And that's really... It's honestly
gotcha.
Trust. Yeah.
That'll teach you.
So where did you learn to manage people? I mean, you were, at Audible, you were a rank and file designer, right? For lack of a better word.
She's also a mother, and she manages children. So
That's true.
Now she can manage grown children.
I manage one dog.
I also have two little brothers, too.
Oh,
So between me and my youngest brother, it's like 10 years. So I think for me, just like from the beginning, it was really... like genuinely like getting excited when somebody succeeds, when somebody takes their first step, when they finally reach that milestone, whenever they get there. Like, I'm always the type of person that's like their biggest cheerleader, like no matter what, I'm like, yay, you did it. Like, what else can we do? Or, oh, you fell down. It's okay. Let's pick yourself back up. Let's just get back.
Oh, you're fired.
Did you get any training from Shutterstock as far as like management training, or do you just kind of
So for me,
research?
To be honest, I think that's one of the reasons why I was brought into Shutterstock, because I had so many years of management history just working in the publishing industry.
Oh, you managed when you were at Condé Nast. Okay.
So just as creative director and design director, like
Awesome.
just managing other designers. And just seeing how other people manage. Like, honestly, I just learned from trial and error myself, and then watching other people manage their teams, and also having like I won't name where this happened, but like there were times where other managers' direct reports would come to my desk crying and like constantly having a box of tissues going, okay, tell me what happened. What did they say?
Rough.
Why did they do that? Are you okay? You're amazing. Just hang in there. Do you know what I mean? Don't leave. Things like that. So
do you think some people are innately better managers?
I do.
Okay.
And I think...
Obviously, you can always get better at any skill, but...
I think some people see that as a stepping point to somewhere else that they want to be. And so they're not there to, like, just rise up and help people, which is that's such a great point as far as what you should see as a manager is to make sure that people are as good as you or better, or to make people as good as you can. But yeah, those people are just like there as a career stepping point. They're using it as leverage or something. Yeah.
And to be honest, I think we all see through that, right? Yeah. And it's like if you see somebody that is like ruthless in a sense that they don't really care, they're throwing everyone else under the bus. Like, it's the little things that you do. It's really actions, not words. And we all see it, right?
So here's a big question. I was thinking about this today because I knew we were going to interview you today for the podcast. And I was thinking about Elon Musk and like Steve Jobs, these product gods that at least that's kind of the view of them, but and I've obviously don't know either of these people personally, but have a reputation for having been really, really tough to work for. So there's two scenarios and I'm curious to which one you think it is. Do you think that is a management style that does work for some people, or do you think that their products would have been that much better if they wouldn't have been such difficult managers?
I mean, I think everyone has a role to play, right? And every successful company has an inspirational person at the top. They don't necessarily have to be the best manager, but they have to be the one to rally the war cry. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, that's the one thing that Elon and Steve, I think, have done successfully is that they don't need to get down to the nitty-gritty. They don't need to manage people. They just need to be the beacon. They need to be the source of inspiration for everybody.
Yeah. So you think their attitude at like a mid-level manager or like a lower-level manager with a team of 6 designers, like...
They might have been fired. I mean, I don't know. Like,
yeah.
To be honest, like they're there. It's their own company. It's their own vision. But that is their role, is to be a beacon, an inspiration, hope. You know, the next level. There's a certain way that you need to behave when you start rising up. Like the further you go, you're not really expected to be everyone's friend. You're expected to be a leader or a manager, and there's responsibilities that come with that, right? Mm-hmm. And if you know that you are not a people person, it's your responsibility then to follow your strengths. If you feel like you are the person that rallies the war cry and is the inspiration, own it, right? And let somebody else manage, you know.
Meet less people.
You know, like stay in your tower until you're needed. You know, like things like that. Like just be honest with yourself about who you are. And to be honest, if you feel like you're not great with people, then don't be a manager. There's other ways to rise to the top.
You can be an individual contributor for a long time and still
and you could be the source
have
of
a great career.
You could have, you know, you could literally be an industry leader in like whatever field you're in and have podcasts, have talks around the country. You could do whatever you want to do.
Just like us.
Talking around the country, Adam.
Just a couple of old industry leaders talking to other people.
Any other management tips for perhaps the product manager that's just moved, or anybody that's just moved into like a management role? Anything that...
Probably the most important thing is to be humble and admit what you know and don't know. Like, I'm the first to say I'm not the best designer, but I love managing people and I love inspiring other designers. And I think that's really my gift, is to like help designers like get to their next level, right?
All right. My final words are, make that logo bigger. Please, Jessica, make that logo bigger. Just kidding.
Yeah.
All right. That's all we have for today. Thank you, Jessica, for joining us. You'll have to come back. And if you have a disaster story from your work, I will read it on the air anonymously for our Halloween episode. You can write me at Kimberly@productpopcorn.com or tweet at me at productpopcorn. Thanks, everybody.
In Denver, I'm sorry for all the traffic. I'll try to take more public transportation.
All right. Bye, everybody.